Good morning, everybody, or afternoon if you are on the East Coast. Hope everybody is doing well. So we have our attendees just pouring in. So welcome, everybody. So this ONE-20-THREE webinar series, we cover one topic in 20 minutes with 3 key takeaways. This session is about digital experiencing monitoring. As always, I'm your host, Ben Ferguson, Executive Vice President from Shamrock Consulting Group. And with me, I have Matt McZura, Strategic Account Director from Catchpoint. Matt, say hi to these lovely people.
Hey, Ben, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to meet everyone, and thanks for taking time today. I've been with Catchpoint for a while now, doing a lot of different things, but most recently I've been focused on our solutions to help people monitor digital employee experience monitoring.
Brilliant. That's what we're here to chat about today. So to get everybody context, those who have joined past webinars, we almost always take a vendor neutral approach to discussing a topic, but we do fit in vendor focused webinars once in a blue moon when we feel like there's a technology that's far beyond the competition and solves huge problems for businesses. So last year, our top ask by far was to how to monitor and solve the ticket apocalypse that came with sending everybody to work from home. So network monitoring solutions that have been around for a while, things like SolarWinds, RSA's NetWitness, NetScout, Yavi, PRTG, they weren't working as they were never built for remote workers in today's SaaS and cloud first models. These solutions are all sensor or collector based, and it's virtually impossible to see packets that don't touch the corporate network. So tons of blind spots and nowhere to start on troubleshooting. So we had some actually crazy folks that were trying to add remote worker IP addresses to monitor them, but IP recycling, DHCP made it a huge waste of time, never worked, and it doesn't capture client to cloud data anyway, right? It would only be client to data center and then data center to cloud. So huge blind spots. So we wanted something that worked across all types of operating systems, devices, was democratized in pricing so that all of our small clients as well as our huge clients could all afford it and see immediate return on investment. So rather than run you through a feature slide deck, which I think would burn everybody out, we wanted to tell you a true story. So picture yourself starting your day and a new trouble ticket comes in. Your top developer who's working from home says they keep getting disconnected from AWS CodeStar. It's ruining their day and they have a deadline. So where do you start? Do you A, open up a ticket with AWS, claim an early victory, and then burn down a few cigarettes outside? You said you were going to quit. B, do you sign out, restart, retry? Well, that didn't work. Maybe try again in a few hours. Yeah, right, he's got a deadline. Or do you C, blame the end user? After all, it's always their fault anyway. Or D, do you gulp down a quad shot of espresso, launch your playbooks for troubleshooting every possible variable for the next 10 hours of your day, not like you have anything better to do? If you're an A, B, or C person, go ahead and smash that hands up button. So let's look at this environment. What are their variables here? Well, there's a ton. Could it be remote workers' thin or thick client, their home gateway, their router? Is it their internet service provider that's causing the issue? Is it their software-defined perimeter solution? Is it your firewall or your internet service provider? Are you guys bogged down? Is it your domain controller or radius server? Is it the host VDI? Is it AWS? Is it their gateway or is it their server they're working on? There's just so many variables to start with here, which makes this exhausting to even look at and approach, right? Which is why a lot of folks, hate to say it, are in bucket A. Open up a ticket with AWS, claim an early victory, and then when they get back to you in 2 to 3 days, you find out that it wasn't the issue, and hopefully it's fixed itself, but a lot of times it doesn't. So Matt, walk us through the problem with problem management workflows of today's world.
Sure thing. So Ben, as you were alluding to, there's been just a huge acceleration that companies have gone through in the last few years of investing in things like cloud-based solutions, SaaS-based solutions, remote desktop with everyone going remote over the last year and a half, security, all these fun things that everyone's put a lot of time, effort, and money into that in an ideal world work terrifically and provide a great experience for everyone working from wherever they are. The problem is it's extremely complex, and the monitoring tools, or traditional monitoring tools, I should say, that are out there to help monitor these types of things simply haven't accelerated nearly as fast as everyone else has gone from the delivery chain perspective. And so the problem that leaves people is a really complex, time-consuming, and frankly unscalable workflow to troubleshoot tickets and IT issues that come in. And so what Catchpoint has done, and we made this bet 12 years ago when we started Catchpoint, it was to take monitoring in a different approach. And that simply is looking at the end user first, and then work backwards and understand how all of the lovely pieces of the puzzle might be affecting them. And so we started that journey, and we really focused on consumer-based companies, so media companies, e-commerce company, basically anyone who had a digital asset that was the primary driver behind their business, making sure that all those things worked great for their users. And then about a few years ago, we doubled down on that philosophy, and we extended our insights into employees and helping people understand how employees were having it, how their digital experience was. And so rather than simply doing simple network sensors like Ben mentioned or component-based monitoring, we really wanted to help people understand the full user flow. And I have to be honest, I don't think any of us saw it coming, but we've got pretty darn lucky with the way COVID has made people work remote and, for the foreseeable future, even at a hybrid workforce. It's been really fortunate for us because it's honestly been one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem, that we've been helping people solve over the last 12 to 15 months.
Yeah, the idea of accidentally creating one of the hottest IT products of 2020 and 2021. Great story.
Oh yeah.
So
a lot of fun.
yeah, a little bit of luck there. So right, let's talk about, all right, this ticket comes in, your top developer is keeps on getting kicked out of AWS CodeStar. So start from the start on the bottom left, right? So you respond to your ticket, tell them sign out, restart, refresh, any error logs, right? Then you try and duplicate it on your computer. Well, AWS seems to be working for me. Well, hour 2 comes by. Old network monitoring tools weren't built for this. So you're going to fire up TeamViewer. You're going to connect to the user, have them replicate it, check thin client resources, check host resources. Hey, buddy, did you try clearing your cache? Maybe that'll help. It doesn't. Third hour. Try getting closer to your Wi-Fi access point. Maybe restart your router. Whoops. TeamViewer session drops. Lost you there. Fourth hour, more espresso. The shakes and the sweats start kicking in. Check your firewall, things look fine. Try AWS again. What have I missed? Try not to raise your voice. You're still talking to your developer. Fifth hour, that's it. I'm reinstalling Wireshark. We got a new computer last year. Haven't had to use that tool in a few years. How do I set up exact route hops again from their computer to AWS? Oh, geez, this is getting terrible. And it ends with you questioning all of your life choices that got you into the IT business in the first place. There must be a better way. Shameless plug right there. So let's look at this again. So we have all these variables in the environment. So how could you possibly parse that many logs or even capture that telemetry in the first place? And that's what Catchpoint really simplifies. So Catchpoint installs on the client at your user's house, or if they're in the office, doesn't matter, works everywhere. Since it's agent based and not IP or IP address based, it works everywhere, goes with them. They can go off to Tulum for a few months, go out to Burning Man in the desert, comes with them as long as they bring their device. And it monitors every single point, every single hop, and gives you true visibility into all the things that are happening, both on your network as well as externally to your network. Matt, talk about proactive detection of these problems.
Sure thing. First things first, if you don't know you have a problem, you obviously can't fix it. So we always tell people using your employee base as your alerting mechanism is probably not the best way to go about things. One, they're already probably ticked off because they've submitted a ticket to you and they can't do something important with their job. Second, there is a lot of people who do not submit tickets when they have an issue. So there's a lot of issues that you may just never know that are actually going on that are affecting a lot of people within the organization in the day-to-day perspective. And so on the flip side, with Catchpoint deployed on every one of those devices, as Ben was mentioning, you're going to get a near real-time alert before anyone's actually impacted. And your IT team is actually going to be the first people to understand and know about any issues that are going on within your workforce.
That's right. A lot of technical users will try and troubleshoot themselves for maybe 60 minutes before they even open up a trouble ticket with their IT team. But this allows you to stay ahead of that curve.
And so the next piece, obviously, you get an alert. Okay, something's going wrong for at least somebody. Your next logical question is, how big of an issue is this? How many people is it affecting? How long is it going on for? And so with Catchpoint, with one click of that alert, it's going to take you into our portal, and you're very quickly going to be able to understand the impact it's having on your broader user base. And so in the example that we're talking about today, you can see quickly that it actually isn't just this one guy who's having a problem. It wasn't his teenage kids that were, playing too many video games and causing his bandwidth to go down. This is a real issue that's infecting almost 30 people within the organization. And so, let's lock in, have another shot of espresso. We got a real problem we got to solve here. And with one big click of next screen, you're going to be able to really quickly understand that the issue is coming from packet loss and latency from a specific region going through Zscaler. And Ben, I don't know about you, and you work with folks on a day-to-day basis with their workflows and what they're doing, but I'd have to guess that Zscaler, while a great product, probably is not the first thing on the checklist to look at when you have a ticket come in.
That's why this story is so great, because looking at back to the network, the exact feedback we got was we run this in persistence. It would have been the last thing I checked. And so this having Catchpoint for this company saved this person hours upon hours of time, right? You get that alert, you know the exact issue, what its blast radius is, how many users are affected, and you can handle that with surgical precision. And quite frankly, ask yourself, would I be able to find this today, this needle in a haystack today with my current tools? Likely not. And that's why we gathered you all here today to hear the good word of Catchpoint.
Perfect. And then the last piece of it, obviously, is that in the old state, when you don't have this visibility, as Ben was referring to before, maybe it goes away, maybe it doesn't. You're kind of living on eggshells, hoping that everything gets fixed and that you're not going to get another flood of tickets. And, hopefully this time it's not when your CEO is trying to have a Zoom meeting with investors or anything else way more important, even potentially. And the great thing with Catchpoint is that it's consistent. It's not a point solution. And so you're going to be getting this data over time. And once you fix it, you're going to be able to go in and understand that, yes, it did fix the problem. You can go have a beer. You can go take a good night's sleep because it's fixed. And also that if something else arises, you're going to get an alert out of it long before anyone else starts to have issues.
That's right. So now let's look at the time lapse of solving these issues with Catchpoint. So you get an alert from Catchpoint, high latency and packet loss detected. You take your chug of coffee. Minute 5, you log into Catchpoint, drill into the issue. You find the exact root cause with ease. You see all the users affected before a ticket is even open. Minute 10, you open up a trouble ticket with Zscaler. You found the exact issue for them in advance because you are a genius. Let's talk about the difference between opening up a trouble ticket that with some subjective narrative that they then have to do their whole playbook of troubleshooting versus, hey, found this device, we're seeing latency and packet loss on it. Here it is, boom, fix your problem. Way different. You're going to find way faster meantime repairs from your vendors. And when they don't, you can hold them accountable because you have the data to prove it. Minute 15, you notify all affected users of the issue. You let them know it's being handled. You change their Zscaler location in the interim, right? Because on that pass screen, you saw that users that were using ZPA from different locations weren't having those issues. So change those users to a different ZPA location, boom, fix, at least in the interim. Then finally, you bask in your glory. You're winning. All your stocks are up today. Elon Musk wants to hang out again this weekend, but you already have plans. Why? Because you are an IT hero. So the results, find that needle in a haystack in even the most complex environments.
And when you do that, the ideal state is you're actually reducing your number of tickets proactively. So forget reducing them. You're actually getting rid of them because you're going to fix them before anyone has a problem. But some are going to come through. And when they do come through, chances are with the Catchpoint tool installed, you're going to be 90% of the way to fixing that problem by the time a user even comes in and says they have a problem. And so by doing those two things, you're not only increasing the productivity of your IT staff, who is saving a significant amount of time troubleshooting these issues, but also all those employees and all those hours you're giving back to your employees to go do the things you pay them for, instead of submitting support tickets and being frustrated and talking to your IT folks about how they can fix their Zoom.
That's right. And this isn't just about the employees and their digital experience monitoring when they're working from home. This is really about you and making sure that everyone thinks you're a genius. Why? Because you are. So Catchpoint is built for the solutions you use. Works on Amazon Workspaces, Teradici, PCOIP, Parsec, Amulet Hotkey, VMware Horizon, Jump Desktop, Citrix, and of course, Mac and Windows.
So Catchpoint, as Ben mentioned in the first slide, we're fortunate enough to work with all kinds of companies, big and small, that all are making a huge impact on the world. And our goal is to provide a scalable solution for the smallest as well as the largest companies, and making sure that not only from a product perspective, but also from a support and a cost perspective, that things are very clear, that there's an ROI and that there's a business case for people to bring us in and help them solve problems regardless of where they're at. The only thing I'll mention is one of the things I love most about our focus on employee experience monitoring is that it really does open up our potential to help any company. Everyone has workers, employees, everyone's working remote, field employees, and even at the office. Before we were focused very much on people who were focused on, consumer digital facing things. Now we can help solve problems for anyone who has employees that need to make sure they can do their job.
That's right. And this isn't Catchpoint, $1 million check for a collector device that sits on-prem like you would with like NetScout or Viavi or NetWitness. This is truly a solution that whether you have 5 employees or 500,000, it works, it scales, and it's proven to solve tons of problems. Of course, there's hundreds of stellar reviews out there.
Exactly. And like I said, we pride ourselves on being a great partner. We obviously feel we have a great technology, but having a good partner as far as support and customer success and PS and all that goes into that, we really pride ourselves on it. And it's one of the reasons that we were extremely excited to partner with ShareMock earlier this year. Is we know how important it is to have a good partner like them, as well as a great technology to go along with things.
Well, Matt, it's 10:20. We stuck to our 1-20-3 promise. We did it in 20 minutes. Well done, sir. So that being said, pardon me?
I said it's like we rehearsed it.
Yep. So that being said, folks have questions, go ahead and hit the Q&A button and fire them off. We're here to answer your questions. Oh, we got one. Nice work, speedy fingers. Okay, so, we're getting lots of questions. Okay, so the first question is, how does this solution install on VDI? Great question. So it can install either on the host, right? So if you're doing like Azure Windows Virtual Desktop in Azure, it can install on that, or it can install right on the client itself. And we typically recommend installing it on the client because that's going to capture the telemetry right from the thin or thick client that's out, in the field, somebody's house, all the way to the applications they're using. So that's the best way of doing this. And that's why we kind of struck out with other solutions because they didn't support, underlying Linux kernels that are popular on a lot of those thin clients. But this works on Windows IoT, it works on Apple, it works on regular Windows, it works on a lot of the pared down thin client kernels out there. So that's why we love Catchpoint. It works for pretty much everybody's environment. Anything you want to add to that, Matt?
No, I think that was perfect.
Okay. Ooh, what are the agent resource requirements?
Sure thing. So I can take this one. So I'll preface by saying we are extremely conscious in knowing that putting something else on your device is something that people could be hesitant for. And so everything from Catchpoint is extremely, extremely low weight. All we're looking at is the type of data that you want to look at passively. So only the applications and networks that you want to see. So that's not adding any additional latency to the device itself. Because at the end of the day, we want to help you solve the problems of all the other things that are on your device and in your delivery chain that could be causing issues. And so Catchpoint's really dedicated to making sure that ours are as lightweight as possible within any of our agents' deployments.
Awesome. I love this question. How does this fix crappy home internet? That's a great question. So
we get it a lot.
Yeah, right. Every single meeting. So this isn't going to fix Spectrum or AT&T or Lemon Home Internet. And so we don't want to sell it as something as such. What this does is it solves for finding out the exact issue where it resides. So we've had a lot of customers that had these issues, right? Hey, around 3 o'clock, all of my users pretty much freeze up and they're all on Spectrum. What's the issue? And we can find the exact router that's causing the latency and packet loss. So, those users can at least open up a trouble ticket with their home ISP and say, hey, look, I'm getting packet loss on this device. Can you fix it? And that's a lot better than the subjective, just, it's probably your ISP. Maybe try doing an Ethernet hardwire into your router and see if that fixes it. And so it's not going to fix the world's internet, but what it does is a lot of these users, what we found that thought it was their home ISP, it was just they were too far from their Wi-Fi access point, or found out they had a crappy Ethernet cable that needed to be fixed connecting to their router. And then a lot of the times it's not even their home ISP. It's a upstream peer that's connecting to their software-defined perimeter solution or their cloud, and being able to reroute again around those issues on the internet really, really quickly has saved a lot of companies' time and money, and add to more productivity for their end users. And so for every where you think it's just the home internet and there's nothing we can do about it, about 50% of the time it turns out to be something you can control. And so that's what we found from rolling this out to a lot of our customers, was that things they thought were out of their control actually were in their control and they could fix them. So it's not going to fix every problem, but it at least shows you the exact problem and whether it's in your control or out of your control, so you can make quick adult business decisions and move on with your day, and communicate exact issues to your end users so they don't just think that you're hiding behind, it must be your home ISP and I'm not going to do anything for you. You can give the exact intrinsic data that shows what the issue is and if there's a fix or not, and move on with your day. We got one more question. How frequently are patches and improvements issued on Catchpoint? It's funny, I see probably about monthly, right, Matt?
Yeah, so we do, I believe it's 8 official releases a year on the product. And then we have sort of like mini rolling updates and releases in between those. So, officially 8 a year. And then obviously there's some smaller bug fixes and updates that we'll make in between those official releases that, like you said, probably about a month or so we get a new rollout.
All right, great questions.
Mm-hmm.
Pumped to see them. Give it another 30, 40 seconds. Any speak now or forever hold your peace? need the Jeopardy music going. Well, how about this? Oh, we got one more just in time. What Linux platforms do you support? Ooh, there's a bunch of them. Matt, are you prepared to do that? That sounds more like a Zach question.
It is. So we do support Linux. So I'm going to go with the flip side. Is Ubuntu is the one right now that we don't support, that we're working on coming out with. But I believe all the other ones, the major ones, we do support. But I can definitely follow up with some more detail.
Yeah, I see a lot of Debian out there, so got you covered. So anywho, thanks so much for all the questions, folks. I think if you like what you saw, or you're intrigued, or you want to see talk more about individual use cases, and what challenges you're seeing in your environment, see if we can fix them, hit up our buddy Ryan.Reeves@shamrockconsulting.com, or call him on his direct line 310-683-2955. Book a demo, talk through how we can potentially solve some problems, or maybe not. But we also give you the option to take it for a test drive and do a POC. And that's where companies are seeing a lot of things they didn't realize were issues. So that being said, thank you all so much for your time, attention, and great questions. As always, Ben Ferguson and Matt, we're signing off.
Thanks, everyone.